I found out the name of the brunette hottie at the party,
Oh, who is it?
Donna Mitchell. So I'm gonna write her and say hi. Want to go to the fall harvest dance with me?
You serious? Sure, she'll say yes.
She might.
Is
Yeah.
the fall harvest dance, is that in Juniper?
Yeah, exactly. Why not? It's no matter what season, it's always a fall harvest dance. Welcome to January's fall harvest dance. I see. Oh, there you are.
Hey,
there he is.
My lovely brethren.
Now,
Hands up.
Hands up.
Hands up.
Your camera's kind of cutting you off at the mouth. Your picture, I see it part of your head, and yeah, it looks good. You look good. You sound good.
Well, thank you. You look good yourself.
I know.
Yeah.
I found out the name of our girlfriend, the girl at the party. So.
She did anything else, or?
She was a Donna Mitchell. Excuse me, Donna Mitchell. She was a cover girl, a Vogue cover girl and model in the 1960s, and she did St. Vincent in 2014, Mona Lisa Smile in 2003, Boiler Room in 2000.
Okay.
But
she looked good right there. Thank you for pointing that out.
Because so you can look her up. You can just Google her. I might Google her later on tonight.
I'll Google myself. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, I just did laundry. I got some clean socks, so the Soxorcist.
Oh,
right. We'd like to see more of your face, Bloodletter. We can't tell if you're laughing or smiling with us.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm reading.
Are you with us?
Oh,
there she is. Oh, yes.
Yeah, let me tell you a quick story once.
There we go. Yeah.
So about the peeing at the party thing.
Yeah.
When Josie was like 5 or something like that, I used to joke around with her, and I'd tell her, I'd be like, "Oh, I go, you had a tail, but it fell off," and she'd be like, "Where is it?" I'm like, "It's in the attic."
Nice. That's good.
That's good.
Mom of the Year award goes to Jeanette. Next time I talk to her, put her on, I'm gonna say, "Hey, where's your tail?"
That's right. She'll be like, "It's in the attic."
Okay, cool.
So she goes to this birthday party, and Steve picked her up, and here she peed her pants at the party because she was too embarrassed to ask like where the bathroom was. And so I was talking to the mom. I'm like, "Oh my God," I'm like, "I'm horrified. I'm so sorry she did that." I said, "But she was probably just afraid to ask you where the bathroom was." She goes, "Oh yeah." She also told everybody at the party she had a tail, but it fell off.
Nice.
I was like,
I pee my pants all the time, so it doesn't matter.
That's right. Tell her she's in good company.
So I'm like cracking up kind of at that part with the Exorcist where she comes down and just says, something crazy, and then pees her pants.
There.
Oh,
yeah, that's what she says.
Yeah, she's like, "I have a tail, it fell off."
It's in the attic. Mom keeps it in the attic. That's great.
But then after that, I was like, okay, watch what you tell them, because they do tell everything.
Right, right. Now that story is going in the beginning. That's going to be the bumper. I am Montag, master of illusion. What goes up must come down, but not always.
I'm Chop Top.
And I am Bloodletter.
And you are listening to
Heavy Metal
Horror. Tonight, kiddies, we have a good one. We are going to talk about the scariest movie ever made. No, I'm not talking about glitter. I'm not talking about Showgirls. I'm not talking about Crossroads with Britney Spears. We're talking William Peter Blatty and William Friedkin's The Exorcist. We just watched this, all of us together. Just enjoyed it, laughing nervously at the parts that were scared. And I tell you, I'm glad we get to talk about it. I have these scary things inside that need to come out, because I'm going to be terrified to turn off the lights in this goddamn house tonight. I'm just going to tell you that. I am sleeping with a nightlight, and I am not ashamed to admit it.
Oh, me and you both. Yep.
Well, Bloodletter, since you hadn't seen The Exorcist in a long time, we'll start with you. What do you think about this? What did you think? What was your experience like? Tell us.
It was amazing. No, I mean, I like the fact that they don't use as you guys pointed out when we were watching it, a lot of music, you know, and so it's just, I don't know, it just makes it more interesting when there's not music, because it doesn't really give away, you know, like, oh God, how do I say
Like, it
it? I don't
doesn't
know.
build towards suspense. It doesn't prepare you for
Yeah,
something.
yeah, it doesn't prepare
Right.
you for something to jump out at you or anything like
Yeah.
that, you know, or
Like,
expect
the
you to
music
be scared.
happens when the scary thing happens, you know, like, at the same
Yeah.
time. Right. There is
So,
music, but it's so light and subtle, and in the background, it's just but, yeah,
right.
not a
So
whole
when
lot.
they do it, when they do use it, it is very effective and simple, which
Yeah.
is, I think, you know, almost a better way to go with it. You know,
Yeah,
not a lot of
right.
sounds. And you
No, I
could
agree.
really focus on what's going to happen, and you try to figure out like what's happening, where's this going to go, and all that stuff like that.
Yeah.
With
Right.
the
Yeah,
lack
scenes
of
of intensity
music,
where it's like everything cuts out for so long in the movie, and then when you're just right in it, and then when you're like here from the bottom of the stair, and all this, it just when it hits you in the gut, it hits you, and that's the
right?
thing that I admire so much about that. I love it. The theme music's fantastic, it's iconic, but yeah, the sparsity of it and everything else, it just
Yeah, at the scene when they look at her stomach and the words "help me" appear, you hear that. That's a good example of when the music is really effective, because it's these, like, scraping violin strings and really discordant kinds of jarring sounds,
yeah,
really intense, and then it stops when it goes back to Father Karras. He's looking at it, and then it zooms in again on her belly, and it's like it happens all over again. It's like, "Oh, okay." It is so spartanly used that it's super effective. You know, like, we're in like movies like Jaws, when you have this tremendous theme, it really, what it does is kind of act as the shark, the terror, right? It builds suspense in that way. So
what you don't see, what you don't see. Yep.
yeah, it's like we have this surrogate shark with this theme music. We know it's there, lurking and coming toward us. That creates a different kind of suspense. In this one, it's the lack of music almost adds to the realism, because it doesn't feel like a movie at times. It is just, you are watching this little girl go through this horrible possession, and it is really, really, scary, scary as hell. I first saw this when I was like 10 or maybe 12. They had shown it on TV. Man, I just I thought it for sure I could handle, because I like horror movies, and this one really, really stuck with me. It disturbed me. It's the only movie that still scares me. I don't ever want to watch it alone at night, and I think part of that was probably due in to my very, very heavy, strict Pentecostal upbringing, being very aware of the spiritual forces around me. You know, demons and possessions, and stories in the Bible of being people being possessed by demons, and I'm like, fuck, know, I just
Yeah,
fully expected my bed to be shaking that night. And so I had the radio on, my lights on, and for like 3 days, man, I was just scared shitless. It still is a terrifying, terrifying movie. How about you, Chop? How does it
yeah.
affect
Well,
you?
well, I think that one of the things I'm glad you touched on it, Montag, was the fact that upbringing, what we were brought up with faith. I had a Catholic mother, a Lutheran father, and no idea about 10 years old, and I got away from church. But for me, when I found my faith again, it was just like terrifying. And I absolutely believe there's some things in this world scientifically cannot be proven that, and I've been through personal experience on that it hits really hits deep, hit deep nerve. And I just love the lack of the music, the intensity building up, even as a slow burn. Even though there's some scenes with the medical stuff, which we talked about during the watch, Montag, that probably could have been left out. When it hits a chord for every individual, regardless of what their faith is, regardless. It hits a chord, and it's a different thing for everybody, and still affects me.
Well,
Yeah,
I liked all the medical scenes. I mean, I can see them, cutting it out for a shorter time, but with the director's cut, bringing it back in, I think all those medical scenes are also very effective in just of the way that you can see how primitive it seemed, like some of those machines, and then like you're sitting there, you're listening to it, and you're not hearing any music, but then all of a sudden you hear that shunk of all the
Yeah,
machinery and stuff like that. So
it's painful. It's
yeah,
painful
it's
because
torture.
where
Yeah.
technology has come, medical technology especially from back in the day, that's exactly accurate for how it was. And loud, obnoxious, is scary. And where we come from, like I talked to Montag earlier about, look at blood tests. Look where needles have come from.
Yeah.
God, I'm scared to death, as a kid.
Mhm.
Now it's like, all right, whatever. Because they were so big and long and hollow. And it's like, are you going to put it through my arm?
It's still very effective, and the practical special effects for the longest time, they're so well done that I sometimes forget that they are not really doing these things to her. Linda Blair's reactions to these things are really visceral and believable. And when they like hit the skin, I'm sure they're just kind of moving it, or there's like maybe a little piece of false skin on top or something that they're pricking or whatever. But it looks like they're really puncturing her. With these things, it looks like she's really going through this stuff. So that's
Yeah,
very
thanks, Mark.
believable. And as a
I think
kid who was
that
sick a lot and had gone through these, a lot of tests as a kid, and,
Mhm.
and understands those kinds of things. I had a cardiac catheterization. You can't see the
Mm.
scar, but it's right there. Next time
Oh,
you
wow.
can't see it, but
I'm going to
we'll,
get closer anyway. So
yeah, I'll show you my scar. It's right here. Next time we get
Oh,
together, I can see my cardiac
impressive.
catheterization scar.
spooky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
terrifying, right?
Well, you know what? I
Um,
think it also gives you another sense of like what she's going through, because none of us has, I don't think, have ever had to deal with possession. So you can relate to her character in the medical procedures and stuff like that.
mhm,
Of
right.
just seeing those needles and feeling,
It's visceral.
yeah,
Yeah,
Visceral.
yeah,
Yeah. You
and
felt it.
you did, and that's adds to the horror. And I think it's one of the side plots in a way, the discovery of trying to ferret out the reason for her behavior. That it takes a while. I mean, half the movie is over essentially before the anything dealing with like the spiritual aspect really comes up. You see elements. I mean, the flopping on the bed, which is
Yeah.
terrifying, and there are moments of sheer terror. But what I love so much, what I've grown to love about the movie, the more I watch it, I love the side story of Father Karras and him questioning his faith. And for years, that was me as I was questioning my own faith. Um, it was a very relatable character, what he was going through. So I really love that element of the movie, and I love Jason Miller as Father Karras. I cannot imagine a more perfect Father Karras. He's one of my favorite actors, and he just embodies that role so well. And just you could just see it, in his eyes and the struggle that he's going through. You know, and I've
It's
just
like
really come to appreciate
Montag.
that.
I hate to interrupt you, but I remember that shot on the stairs. Here you have Marin totally, faced from him, and you have Father Karras on there. Father Karras still has on in the bottom steps where he's still got that shadow over his face. Like he's still doubting everything. He's still
Sure.
going through this battle of faith. It's so simplistic, but so
Hmm.
powerful. And I thought, wow, what a great shot. And I never noticed it throughout, until years later and looking at
Hmm.
stuff up and thinking about it. But that's a very powerful scene with Marin right there on the
Oh yeah,
stairs.
yeah, yeah. Friedkin does a lot of great things where he sets up these wonderful shots that become symbolic. Early on when Marin is in Iraq at the dig and he uncovers that head of Pazuzu, and then you see him standing across the chasm. There's Pazuzu, the statue on one side, and there's Marin on the other. These dogs are fighting.
Yep.
It's very, very symbolic. And then little things. They use little things to create terror. Like when he's talking to the people there in Iraq, he's got to leave, and then the clock stops. Like when he says "evil against evil," it just stops. The timing of it, when you realize, oh shit, if this is gonna get scary, that's just simple stuff, but it's really effective. And perhaps that's what movies that deal with supernatural possession, ghosts, I think those are terrifying on a different level because it's not like a masked killer or
Yeah.
Jason, even though they're supernatural. It's just that's like so like a nightmare, dream-like fantasy horror, where this is a different kind of visceral horror. It's not the monster outside trying to get into your house. It's the monster getting into your body, into your
Right.
mind,
Right.
and controlling you, and you have no power to take yourself out of that situation, and that's what's really scary.
Well, it's like, I don't want to take any time away from anybody, but Ellen Burstyn, what a tremendous actress. But on top of that, I pointed out in that film, Montag, when we were watching, I'm like, here's a doctor that side of the desk, and here she is, and he's in light.
Hmm.
She's totally in dark. The subtle move, but like she's going through. She is, like that, all that pain and everything about her daughter and everything else. And yet you have this doctor on the other side, like, we got the answers to this. And she's done at
Yeah,
that point. She
yeah,
is spent. And
it's a beautiful shot.
that's what carried on to me.
Well, we have the dream sequence as well. Karis dreaming about his mom, the symbolism of her dying, coming up and then dying. And we know that Friedkin purposely put in these subliminal hits of this ghoul face that you didn't see when it was actual film, because the way film works versus how video transfer works, they show up. You can obviously tell that these ghoul faces have been spliced in, but they're spliced in. Some of them are like direct over faces, or in crazy places like the hood of the grill, the stove, and weird things that just pop out. And when you not see them, and when you forget that they're there, it's like, oh, it is jarring. And I can only imagine what an audience felt when you couldn't physically see them, but you felt it. Your brain saw it, but you didn't
Yeah.
know why you were getting more and more scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other things do you have to say? What things stood out for you on the movie itself, beyond the
Yeah.
medical stuff and everything that you talked about?
Yeah. What about you, Bloodletter? What do you think?
Oh,
What
the
what
spider.
what other things came? Yeah. What other things did you enjoy or were terrified with?
Yeah,
Well,
what really scared you?
the one that really freaked me out was her coming down the stairs up, in the spider crawl or whatever,
Yeah.
and then the blood. That kind of like freaked me out to
Mm-hmm.
see that, And I
Yeah.
think that was like one of the first times I jumped when we were when I was rewatching the movie.
Nice. And
Yeah.
when
Because I've
Reagan
never seen the director's cut.
right. And I remember the first time I saw it, because I had no idea what to expect. I just knew it
Right.
was longer.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I saw it, and what they referred to it in the movie as like it's a double climax, because you get the climax of Burke being killed, being dead, and then you think it's over, and then here comes Reagan crawling down the stairs, vomiting blood, crawling upside down.
1-2 punch.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's like
Ugh.
it's so short. The scene, it's so terrifying. It hits you and then leaves you because you
And they
move
just
on.
zoomed up on her, they zoom in on her face, and then she
Yeah,
like spits out
yeah.
all that
Yeah.
blood, and you're like,
Crawling
what?
down because it's such an unnatural crawl. A contortionist was used for that scene. It's such a horrifying, and my skin is just like goosebumping now just thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's almost, it's like when you watch the Ringu, the Japanese ring, when the
Mm-hmm.
ghost comes out of the TV. It's such an unnatural movement. It's just like, oh god. But this was real. A contortionist. She crawled down the stairs, vomited blood, and like, ugh. Just that really terrifying moment. So, but
I think
the
the thing that clear.
yeah,
I'm sorry. I think the thing that
uh,
clarifies the whole movie for me is it's what your belief is. Like, I absolutely believe. I don't care what anybody tells me. I've had my own personal experiences, struggle with my own faith, got my faith for what it is. I'm proud of that, but I absolutely believe in that. This can
mhm,
happen. This is not something that there's certain things in this world you do not mess with. Ouija boards and all that. No, I'm good. That's why it speaks to me. And that's why
sure.
it's terrifying. That's like real. Like, I can see this happening in real life. This isn't just a movie. Yeah.
And Bloodletter's on our Ouija board right now. So,
That's right.
Oh, are you calling
hands
Captain
up,
Howdy? Yeah.
hands up,
Hands
Bloodletter.
up.
Yes.
Hands up.
I
She's
agree with you
mine.
there. I totally agree with you, Chopped Up. Yeah, when I was about 19 or 20, I was searching for the left-hand path. Let's just say that,
Mm-hmm.
because I had come out of years of a really judgmental, critical, legalistic church, and I was desperate to find the other side of the spectrum, to balance the scales. And so my friend and I we had a Ouija board out, and we were writing songs for a band we wanted to do. And I said, let's just channel something, and maybe we'll get some help writing songs. Yeah, why not? What could go wrong?
The fuck?
You met a woman named Patty Pate?
Oh, she tasted so good. Finger licking.
I'm having Patty for dinner tonight. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
What
Now,
else alive?
the butler's gonna gouge her eyes out. Now you're gonna feel the horror seeing my tongue flicker out of my mouth like that.
She's like,
You're lucky. You're welcome. Anyway, so we were doing this Ouija board thing. We were waiting something. We asked the spirits, because I was also reading books on black magic and summoning the devil and all kinds of stuff like that, and demonology and all this crap. And so we got, I think we got like 3 letters. We asked who, if there was a spirit there, and we got the yes. And we said, well, what's your name? And it spelled out W-I-L. We thought, oh, we channeled William Shakespeare. That's fucking great. Let's write a song. But by that time, I said Will, and we said, okay, we were like wanted to prove it. Let's say, maybe it's us just pushing the letter around. We said, if you are here, give us a sign. Well, at that very moment, the guy's window in his room closed, fell down. And we're like, oh, fuck. And my skin's crawling now just thinking about it. And we said, okay, well, hey, tell you what, Will, hey, thanks so much. We're going to let you go. We don't need your help anymore. We're just going to let you go back to where you came from. And we're just, I made sure to do the proper ritual. I forget what it was, a certain way to let the spirits go. And we never touched that fucking board again. But it was just so, it could have been coincidence, but in the context of what we were doing, I'm like, nope. And that was the last time. I'm like, nope, not gonna fucking touch it again. Never. And so there's my Ouija board experience. But I had a much better experience. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the cursed film. This was a very cursed, and a lot of people thought that it brought, obviously, coincidental, I'm sure.
Yeah,
but
I think that was the folklore that came around this
series on Shudder is magnificent. And
Poltergeist.
Burt Dennings, the actor that actually, died in the film. I don't know if he got hit by a car or something, Montag, but there was a lot surrounding it. A lot of things that just seemed to go after the set or after the shoot.
Could very well be. I know there's a lot of rumors and stories, so I just never got into how much of it was true or not,
But there was some creepy stuff. There's a reason why it scares the shit out of me to this day, and that's because it touches me personally. Not down there, but it touches me.
Right. Yeah. Hands up.
Hands up.
And let's give credit to the makeup, the special effects makeup.
Yeah.
And just Dick Smith was the makeup artist, legendary makeup artist, Dick Smith. I mean, he's just done everything you could ever want to know. I mean, he was makeup on Godfather, he did Taxi Driver, he did Exorcist 2, Altered States, Poltergeist 3, House on Haunted Hill,
wow,
Amadeus, The Hunger, Ghost Story, Scanners, The Deer Hunter. Dick Smith is just
what a resume.
He just has done everything, and that makeup effect of the possessed Reagan is just god awful terrifying. And I remember, I think I don't know if you remember this book, Chop Top. I had a book called like The Look of Horror, and it was all about special effects makeup. And it was an oversized coffee table book. And there was a whole like 11 by 14 picture. Yeah, right, 11 by 14 picture of Reagan, full face. I'm like, oh my God, I can't look at this book. It's just looking at me. She's just looking at me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so applause, kudos to you, Dick Smith.
Yep.
And and just the cast. Max von Sydow was just amazing as Father Merrin. His performance, he was a terrific actor.
A terrific actor.
Jason Miller, Linda Blair. I mean, my God, she was just a child going through
like
this.
12 or 13.
Yeah. I think she was like 16 or 17 when they made Exorcist 2. Yeah, just a tremendous job, and I'm sure I heard stories of just how traumatized she was, and I don't know how any of it. I'm not sure if any of it was true or not. So, Ms. Blair, if you're listening, just know that we love you. And I met you in Cleveland. We talked about our dogs and how much we love our dogs. And you signed a lovely picture to me, sweet dreams, to Mark, sweet dreams. We're fans.
And the thing is, I heard about that when she did The Exorcist. They had that harness, the famous bed scene shaking and stuff. That
Yeah.
injured, that fucked her back up. That's no doubt about that. She said that in interviews like that really messed her up. But Freakin was so focused on that intensity and the moment, just like having a freezing room, everything in a cold storage.
Yeah.
He wanted that reaction. Oh boy, he
Yeah.
got it, but there was a cost. And
Yeah.
no, she had some back injury from that harness.
Well, yeah, I think they said that she broke her back or something like that because they were. I was reading something one day and they were saying how the crew was standing behind the wall, moving the bed, and then they had her strapped down to a thing that would come up and flip her around in the bed, and so they were like, those were real screams in there because she was broke
I
her
did read
back.
that, Bloodletter. There is actually that's my real scream. She said, "I am in pain."
Yeah,
Because of what
she literally broke her back during that scene.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Wow, that's poor kid.
Yeah.
They're saying here that she was 13 and they tried to cast like 2000, or they were looking and they sat down and talked to them, and she sat down with her mother and said, "Linda, do you know anything about The Exorcist?" She said, "Yeah, I read the book. It's about a little girl who gets possessed by the devil and does a whole bunch of bad things." And so she kind of knew about the book, so they were like, "Okay, well, this movie experience won't freak her out," and they casted her, and the mother agreed. So
Well, I'm sure she went through a lot,
yeah, oh yeah.
horrible things. So, Ms. Blair, if you ever want to come onto our show and talk about your experiences, not only in The Exorcist, but any of your movies, Hell Night, we're all fans of Hell Night.
especially.
Hell Night's a great movie. We would love to have you on. So, anytime. I think that's what I'm gonna start doing. I'm gonna ask her. I'm gonna send her a message on Instagram and invite her onto our show. Why not? She can't hurt. All she can do is say no. Oh, I tell you, this movie wrings me out. It is just visually still terrifying, and it's so engaging. The director's cut, if you've never seen it, it is longer. Some of the scenes, most of the additional scenes, there's one with Father Marin and one with Chris McNeil before the exorcism that I did not remember it being in the original cut. Quite a few of the additional scenes are of medical procedures, and then there's that terrifying spider crawl. It's totally worth the extra time just for that spider crawl, And it was nice to hear a visceral reaction from you, Bloodletter, when Reagan vomits up the pea soup. So that was nice to hear you jump, hear you scream.
Yeah, it was hot.
I'm sure it was.
So it just makes me want to, like, the next time we actually get together in person is to have a mouthful of pea soup, and when we get ready to hug, I'm just gonna go so loud
all over everybody.
Great. So if you have any pea soup recipes, send us, email, find us. We are, heavy metal horror podcast fans on Facebook. Send us your great pea soup recipes. We'd love to hear them. So, I know this was a pretty short episode tonight. I think we're all spent with talking about what we felt. I mean, how much terror, and the fact that we're still scared, 40 years later, is testament to the power of this film. As we were talking earlier, like some of the Hammer films that scared me to death as a kid, I watch and I'll get creeped out, like The Mummy, Christopher Lee's The Mummy, and the first Dracula movie. There were times where I remember being like 5 years old. That was my first Hammer film. I saw Dracula come out, and I still remember being that 5-year-old kid and being afraid. The Mummy still creeps me out. He comes out of the swamp. It's like, ugh. It's a creepy feeling, but it doesn't affect me like this goddamn movie. It just sticks with me, and I'll probably always be affected like this. the rest of my life. So thank you for making the scariest fucking movie in the world, William Peter
Mhm.
Blatty. You know,
I think. Well, I think one of the things I'm going to add is that you guys got to remember back in. We're watching this how many years later? And
well,
our parents
it's
saw
40
this
years,
film.
almost 40 years later.
Yes, and I remember, and Montag, you'll
50,
recall this as well.
50 fucking years.
People,
Sorry,
yeah,
73, 50
yeah,
years later.
and people were passing out in the aisleways, puking, and
Yeah.
the ushers and stuff were hauling people out of the theater
Mm-hmm.
because it had such a deep emotional impact. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that goes, I think a lot of that goes with it, Catholicism and their Catholic faith they brought into it.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
they know what they were going to be faced with. But still, what does that? I don't remember a film in horror history that had that effect.
I mean, William
Right.
Castle liked to do those gimmicks where he said, we
Yeah.
have a nurse standing by if you pass out. That was kind of the fun. This was legitimate terror.
Yeah.
I think because people had never seen anything like this ever. There had been other supernatural movies, but really, when you think about this movie, well, not necessarily this one. I think what started the whole supernatural thing was probably Rosemary's Baby in 1968. But that
Right.
was so tame and so calm. Even only the very last shot do you see this kind of devil
Quiet.
kind of thing. But it was just subtle. It's overrated too. I'm just gonna take a. It's overrated. Sorry, Polanski, you pedophile. It's overrated. I gotta separate the work from the artist. I can do that.
You do. Yeah.
Because he's done like The Ninth Gate, which I think is a fantastic movie.
Ninth Gate's fan.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another time. So there was this turn toward the supernatural, like The Exorcist sparked like The Omen and this whole like host of demonic kind of possession movies. Devil Dog, Hound of Hell. Made its way into the Kolchak the Night Stalker series.
Oh, yeah.
Even.
Yeah.
With Hellfire. Or no, that's not that one. The one with Tom Skerritt as Servant Satan.
Oh, that was good when he was
Yeah,
politician.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's here 50 years later. I'm sure in 2023 they will have a 50th anniversary edition or something.
Yeah.
And here it is. And we're still, I mean, it's been 40 some years for us, about 40 because we saw it, I saw it maybe 1977, 79, somewhere in that area. And
we're still affected. We're still affected.
And that was a TV. Yeah, that was just a TV cut.
All levels. All levels.
Yeah, they weren't even like showing all the stuff. Fuck me, Jesus, fuck me. That stuff was cut all out. It was just the stuff like the listening to English in reverse.
Cocks in hell, Karen.
Yeah. It was all the English in reverse stuff. Hearing that.
That was a good
backwards.
invitation there.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, all that stuff was cut, and it was still just horrifying. I'm glad we got to watch it. But
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be watching this anytime soon, let alone for entertainment.
I'm done. I'm glad to have you both with me because it scared the shit out of me. And
hold my hands, Bloodletter. Reach out and touch the screen. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
I get cuddle time after that. I need a cuddle.
Jesus, come through your screen.
I'm scared.
Yeah.
I think I'll keep seeing flashes of the demon's face. Because when you actually look at that picture too, you're like, ooh, it is scary. But when you see a flash of it, it's just a little bit scarier because you're trying to piece in your mind of like, what exactly did that look like?
Yeah, the ghoul face. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That wasn't Pazuzu. It was something like almost in between kind of thing.
It was just they referred to it as the ghoul face. But I don't know what it was supposed to be other than some kind of creepy, like a death-like face.
It worked.
Yeah. And let's give credit to Mercedes McCambridge. Mercedes McCambridge was the woman who did the demon voice.
Okay.
I was reading about that in here too.
Yeah. So hey,
she had to eat like raw eggs or something like that to help get that voice.
They never want to smoke as many cigarettes you can, drink whiskey to get that.
I don't know what the hell, but it was just I'm good. That's enough.
It said she would need to swallow raw eggs to make her voice mucusy. And start smoking cigarettes again, and also guzzle booze to get the languid, throaty croak necessary for the demon.
Yeah, languid is like relaxed.
Oh my gosh! It's like when Reagan's like,
Did you do that?
Oh,
There you go.
thank you. Hands
Thank
up.
Can you see
I
the?
got it. I do.
Right.
I got
That's
it.
a
Oh,
thank you,
oh.
Bloodletter.
Thank
I
you
don't
for
need to
now.
see it
I'm not going to
anymore.
sleep tonight. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it keeps flashing through my head though.
Thank you.
But-
Bad touch. Bad touch.
Kiss me, kiss me, Montag.
Oh.
Kiss me, Montag.
Kiss me, Montag.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that.
Oh,
That's the best kiss I've had in a long time. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't always kiss demons, but when I do, it's while doing heavy metal horror. Does anyone have anything else they want to add? Bloodletter, you want to add some more?
Should we say like a Hail Mary or an Our Father before we move on?
Sure, go ahead. It's not going to work.
We got to get right in front of the statue of the Virgin. So that's a
Oh,
false
that's
idol,
another
right?
thing.
False idol.
Jesu Domine for oressis requiem.
I
I'll
was
do
an
the
old
one.
altar boy.
That's right. I'll do that one. That
Yeah.
was from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. All right. Well, I think we've talked about The Exorcist enough for today. And boy,
I do have a fear of statues. Though. You remember how we were talking about the statues,
yeah,
Yeah.
like in
yeah.
The
Oh,
Exorcist?
yes, yeah.
You got
It's
fear of
more.
statues?
It's yeah. Tell us about
Yeah.
this. It's more in The Exorcist 3. Is my fear of statues actually seeing it come to life. But anytime, Catholic churches, man, they creep me out, man. Those statues, like Jesus, come on. Not the pun, just
No.
you guys like statues of these people. Like, why? It's like unless you're gonna make a gigantic chessboard, and make them move around, that's fine. But yeah, I just don't get it. And then like when they're hyper realistic, not like the stone white alabaster or something, but like when they're hyper realistic, painted up, and their eyes are looking at you, I will fucking stare
That's
at the
creepy.
statue and wait for it. Just wait for it to move its eyes. It's like looking at a ventriloquist doll.
No.
I'm waiting for it to go. I'm just waiting. Come
But
on,
there wasn't
Joseph. Come on,
For like
Joseph. Bring it.
Hellraiser.
Blink at me. Blink at me, you
Oh.
son of a bitch.
like
Yeah.
going into an art museum, like freaks, like with the armor. Like I can't go in the armor section.
Yeah.
And the Asian section, where like the statues are actually bigger than you. I really flip out, and I have to like look down and try to get away because I'm always thinking they're gonna reach out and touch me,
Nice.
or they're watching me, stuff like that.
Right. They are.
Well,
So
they
that's
want to
good.
touch you. I mean, there's
Yeah, who
nothing wrong with
doesn't?
that. But they got
Hands up! I was like, hands up, statue.
Hands up. On one of the things too on this, get back to The Exorcist. This messed people up because it was attacking Christian fundamentals or the Catholicism fundamentals. This was attacking, and that's what offended a lot of people, I think, especially devout Catholics that went and saw the film. Something happened with that, they got sick or they got. So I think
because people were more religious back then as well.
Well, they get.
Oh,
I mean, they win in the end. We found out who did it. The devil did it. But the Christian or the Christian faith wins over, Pazuzu in the end. So I guess
good versus evil.
Chalk one more up for God.
Yeah.
Well, it's especially like with Marin, that opening sequence. And like I gotta say, it's right there with Pazuzu, and you can see like that disparity. And it's like
two opposite ends
almost
of the spectrum.
like overpowering, but he still stood his ground, and that was a pretty fantastic shot by Friedkin.
Oh yeah, it's very symbolic. That's what the good filmmaking could do. This is obviously a good film. Some of the sequels have not been so good.
Nope.
Exorcist 2 was pretty horrible. Exorcist 3 is brilliant. I love Exorcist 3. And like Exorcist 4 or The Beginning, those other ones have just not been good. Yeah.
Oh, is there 4?
Yeah.
Well, I think they traces back Father Marin's first time being an exorcism, exorcist in Africa or something, because they make reference to it.
They had two of those, Mark, Dominion, and I forget the other one. They had two of them. One was directed by Rennie Harlan, and the other one I can't remember. But they had two of them at the same time. It was so confusing. Nobody even they gave a shit about it.
Yeah, they haven't been able to do it. This is one of those movies where I think the zeitgeist has changed, and they're going to rely on special effects too much or something. But it's the human drama is what's so terrifying. You got the priest who's losing his faith. You got the innocent girl who's being unwittingly taken over by a demonic entity who has no qualms with hurting her.
No
So
control.
you have all this really terrifying human drama, and then Reagan, or then Chris McNeil, the mother, her terror as she's watching her child go through this. She can't find help with all the medical stuff. Actually,
And
coming to
just
the
knowing
priest.
too that she killed like 3 people, not knowingly.
And you
And
felt for her, that mother in this movie. You really felt. I mean, Ellen Burstyn, God
Yeah.
bless her, tremendous actress. And
Yeah.
you really felt like those moments.
I'm going to guess that almost anyone who's listening to us has probably seen The Exorcist. I mean, that's why you're listening to a heavy metal horror podcast. But if you haven't, I mean, we've spoiled a lot for you, but it's still worth to see because
No, we haven't. We haven't really spoiled anything.
the devil did it. I gave it away. What more do you want? The devil wears Prada. Okay, now we know.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I think we can wrap this up on The Exorcist. I think I can put it in the book as saying, okay, I don't need to see it unless you got something more to say there, Bloodletter.
Well, I like it too because it's not hokey, because it can be real, and I think that's the bottom line of The Exorcist. It could be real.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another point, but I totally forgot because I blinked and lost it all.
Ching. You're like
I can't
Genie.
remember.
You blink and something happens. You're like the opposite of Genie. Instead of making things appear, you make things disappear. I can make memories disappear.
I know. I'm like, I had something really cool to say, and
Can you call me master? Like Genie?
I'm blinking.
She's making me blink and go away. Hands up, hands up. Well, Chop Top and I will wear matching Genie outfits, if you will. So,
yes,
straight.
master.
There we go. Oop, hold on. Say it one more time. Hands are down.
That's some stuff you want to see, right?
Yes, master. Blink, 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 blink. God.
I can feel it possessing me now.
Oh, good. Oh,
Bloodletter.
My God. Let's say a Hail Mary and get out of here, repent, and go.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll say it, but
Wanna get you.
Well, this has been fun.
Mm-hmm.
This is Montag, Master of Illusion.
Chop Top.
Bloodletter.
And you've been listening to Heavy Metal.